we have founder of Ketone-IQ coming in here. Okay. This guy is a serious operator and a serious athlete, And like, come to find out, he's worked with, I mean, some of literally the goats of several categories. Okay.
Yeah.
Huberman. Okay. John Jones, the
Scary guy.
literal goat of
Yeah.
MMA. Okay. And
Scary
now,
guy.
and now, everybody's taking his product. I have to
Yeah.
say, even with my athletic background, I didn't even know what ketones were. Okay. I
Yeah.
did not.
Yeah.
But he is bringing the good news to market and to the American consumer and beyond. We must welcome to the show Michael Brandt of Ketone-IQ. Michael, get in here. Get in here. There he is.
Ireton.
How are we doing?
Michael, boy, we're glad to have you on here, man. Appreciate you making the time and joining us. Brother, you have got to give us perspective on carving the path that you have. I think that category creation, one of the hardest things in consumer to do, and I really believe you have done it. I played football at the University of Texas way back when. There it is. I see it. I played football at the University of Texas, and we had every kind of doodad and nutritional what. And brother, I didn't even know what ketones were. Man, give us perspective on getting this thing going, how you've gotten to where you are today, and also, man, how you're educating athletes and consumers along the way without them getting lost in the science.
That's a great question, and thanks guys for having me on. It's good to be here.
Of course.
Category creation, not for the faint of heart at all. It's definitely a different style of entrepreneurship where in any category, if you're creating 80+% of the demand for something that planet Earth hasn't seen before, you're also the de facto global coordinator of that supply chain. And this goes for anything. Coconut water, Nutella owns a third of the world's hazelnut farms. Like if you are the dominant demand generator, and that is just a priori true if you created a new category, then you have the job responsibility, you get to / have to create all that demand and also figure out how to service it. And what's exciting about it is that you're doing something really new. Your first tracks in the snow. True. You can create a multi-billion-dollar category and own it and be first mover. We own ketone.com. We're at Ketone on social media. We have a lot of moat on the brand side, IP side, all that good stuff. So it definitely takes a certain metal to it. And so I always put an asterisk next to any advice I'm giving that look, you're doing like a celebrity backed hydration stick brand. Like, don't listen to anything I'm saying. Cause like, I'm not doing, like, it's a totally different playbook. And not, it's all good. There's a lot of ways to create value in this world. So I'm not even here to, that's not a diss at all. It's just like, there's different playbooks. So anything I have to say is like, we like Vital Proteins. They created collagen as a nutritional primitive. I love, my favorite book is the Gatorade book. Like they made electrolytes a thing. The Florida Gators, they went and studied them and showed that they were sweating out more than just water. And it's like, hey gents, what if we put that salty stuff into a drink so you could replenish that? And that was back in the 1960s. And now electrolytes are a $30-40 billion category. So if you're into that kind of that's it's just a different motion than I would say other types of categories. And very much what we're doing here at Ketone-IQ.
And Michael, this isn't your first forte. I mean, you originally founded NutriBox, which I will say, you ready for this? I was an original customer of that, and I used NutriBox to build my first company in college. And I was consuming every single NutriBox every single day. I mean, how do you go from NutriBox to ketones, and then now you're getting in front of Huberman? I mean, that's just banana sandwich. I mean, it's just a crazy trajectory that you've been on.
Thank you. Yeah, we've been cooking. I studied computer science in undergrad at Stanford. Sure. And so I very much came into this world of like Silicon Valley approach to the human body. Yeah. It's going to sound real nerdy for a second, but that like my approach was that we're seeing the API-ification of the human body, that we are seeing a proliferation of sensors on and in the body. People are able to read their heart rate, read their blood biomarker. You can have someone come to your house and measure your blood today. That wasn't true a decade ago. Like, you're seeing this Whoop, Aura, Apple Watch, Fitbit. You're able to measure your sleep score, your heart rate variability. You're able to count your footsteps in the day. You're able to see, should I cut back on caffeine afternoon because it decreases my sleep quality? You're able to measure all of these aspects of your system. You're able to listen to more of the Dr. David Sinclairs and the Dr. Andrew Hubermans and whatnot. You're able to talk to ChatGPT about your own health and get feedback back in response. So there's this whole cultural shift towards health is wealth, and there's this whole set of tools around it. And then what follows from there is that people are more mindful about the inputs that they put into your system. If everything I just described is kind of read, like if you're thinking about an API, it's like you have read access into your body. You can know what your red blood cell count is. You can know where you're at right now today. You can know your VO2 max. How do you go and change that? Okay, well, we now have proliferation, a lot of innovation across the board. You have things that you can eat and drink. You have things that you can inject. You can things that you can implant. Like the future, especially when we project out another decade, that we're seeing a lot of ability to be able to write to the human body as a system. And so that was what was always interesting and inspiring to me to get into this space on like doing something really new. Like what's a new primitive that we could bring into the human body as a system that's not just a new flavor of protein powder. One, again, like that's a fine way to make money, but just for my own personal approach to entrepreneurship, it's like I make that was fundamentally a new primitive that would be a whole new lever to pull inside of the human body as a system. And ketones are a fundamental part of our biology. All 8 billion people on planet Earth have ketones in their system. You make more of them when you fast, or if you're running, or if you're eating low carb. Whenever you push your body to your limits, you make more ketones. It's the most efficient metabolite in your system. So to me, it was that like obvious light bulb moment of like, okay, your body makes this. It's a super fuel. You turn it into cellular energy really easy inside of your body. What if you could go to the store and drink a shot of that? Wouldn't that be cool? And that was the genesis story of it. Now, years later, we're still like building it out brick by brick. We launched in Target in Q4. We just got word from them that we're expanding the end cap because it's flying off the shelves. Like we've been the number one energy supplements at Sprouts. We're crushing it on Amazon. It's like just brick by brick, but every brick, it's like we're building something that was never there before. So it's exciting.
Incredible.
That's amazing.
Incredible. So this kind of momentum, Michael, and before we get there, number one, the API-ification of the human body, that is an absolute bar that I'm going to put in my pocket. I'm putting that one in my pocket because that is a great lens. It's a great lens to see, what is happening, what's happening in culture and product and consumer, et cetera, in technology. All of this momentum that you've got now, which is tremendous. I'm sure there are some high notes there where you saw real tailwinds that just, you got into a jet stream. I would imagine when you started working with Huberman, and I would imagine that was a big one. And he's talking about you guys. Obviously, later on down the road, you end up partnering with John Jones. And
scary guy.
The diary of the
great guy.
The diary of the CEO guy too. Tell me what it was like. You guys get into retail. You start working with Huberman. Tell me what that was like. Data wise, numbers wise. That opened more doors for you. What was that like when those kind of influencers and voices started coming on board?
Partners are a huge part of our growth playbook. I would recommend it if you're creating a new category. You got to educate. You got to work with high trust third parties to build that out. Podcasts can also work in general. You saw AG1 did a ton of work with podcasts because no one was really taking green powders before then. So you see this common fact pattern with when you're creating something really new. There's a world of difference actually between a podcast versus, some products you just put it on shelf and it flies because in 0.5 seconds, you can know what the heck Halo Top is or Zico coconut water, RX bar. It's got the dates and the nuts and the what. Like there's certain products where if you're just a better version of what the large category was already offering. It's a big TAM. And if you can immediately click, hey, this is that I used to have, but it's the lower sugar, better for you, boom, boom. Okay, I got it. Okay, it's, it's a cough drop, but it's organic. Okay, boom. Like you do not need to do a podcast circuit for that. You should probably just win on shelf in that 0.5 second impression. If you're creating something really inventive and new, then you need to think about surface areas where you can download a larger packet of information into people's brains. So even a 15, 30-second Rogan talking about how, hey, when I'm officiating UFC, that's a marathon activity for me. I'm there for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours commentating. I'm following 5-dimensional chess. It's actually 6 dimensions because I got to comment on it on top of everything that's going on inside of the octagon. I need to stay mentally sharp. That's why I have Ketone-IQ. Paraphrasing kind of how he talks about it, or Dr. David Sinclair, who runs the Harvard Longevity Lab, how he talks about it. One of our partners, Stephen Bartlett, that like that 20 or 30-second info packet moves mountains, and something that you need to do when you're creating a new category, when there's really something to educate around what you're doing. So yeah, podcasts are a big part of it, and we're always looking for a genuine interest. Like there's a lot to it, but I can say like Stephen Bartlett, Rogan, John Jones, all these guys are like users of the product before we even got in touch. So it's you can't totally force these things. You can't just like go pay LeBron for a product he's never heard of to like sign up with it. You got to be a little bit more, there's a dance to it that best partners are people who are authentically into it and that can take time in real relationship building. You can't pay an agency to go push it. Like we do all of this stuff like I'm buddies with John Jones. I have his number in my phone, right?
Let's go, baby.
Yeah. So be careful what you say. Yeah. No, but it's like unbelievable. It's like that actual rapport, actual connectivity is something that we look for a lot when we're working with partners. It's way more than just transactional.
Could you talk a little bit about this? I mean, there's recently been some kind of breakthrough research about the effects of ketones with, Alzheimer's and how it's benefiting, the older generation. And it's absolutely unbelievable what is coming out right now. And it's kind of shattering how we're thinking about aging. How do you balance between being a kind of this sports energy company and you're doing something on the kind of the forefront of medicine? And how do you balance both those things in your head? Because you have these multiple use cases with the product now.
It's a really good question. The fact is ketones can do a lot. And when you look at a really mature category, like you look at electrolytes, there's still people that are launching brands that carve out a new segmentation positioning, right? Like we talk about Gatorade. Okay, then you had liquid IV, but then you had LMNT, but then you had instant hydration, and you have dry water, and you have like electrolytes are electrolyte. By and large. But what ends up happening is you get different, like, okay, well, we changed the blend a little bit. The cadence one is more for athletes, and the dry water one is more for you're less active, but you still need to hydrate, and it's got flavors that moms love more. So you end up in mature categories seeing a lot of, okay, like every possible use case and every possible demographic. You almost have a different brand like sitting on that. We're so new. Ketones do more than electrolytes do. So like there's a ton of places it can go and do. One of the challenges I wrap my mind around as an entrepreneur is, okay, it can do a lot, but also I need to make it really simple. So I can't on my retail package say, hey, this has everything in the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
We need to really fine tune it down. And so what we find, like in 2 words, it's brain fuel. Your brain uses a lot of ketones. Ketones turn into cellular energy that your neurons use. You just feel 30% sharper than you would otherwise. It's a focus multiplier, period. Wow. If you want to go on the 90-minute deep dive of everything that ketones can do with, because of how they provide energy to your brain, they support brain health. Because of how they provide energy to the whole body, they can help with athletic recovery if you're a serious athlete. Ketones are just so far up the triangle, up the like hierarchy of primitives, that it helps all these areas, but we really keep it focused because just from a go-to-market point of view, it's a lot easier to grok. Okay, brain fuel. Who doesn't want more energy? Okay, I want that focus multiplier. And then like secondary, tertiary, like on our website or deeper dives, you can figure out all the other things that ketones go and do. That's how we think about it.
I think this is a great point because you really do have a product that, I mean, I think it would just benefit all of humanity. I mean, it's going to benefit everybody. But when I just look at your branding and the people that you work with and everything, I always think extreme athlete, real athlete, running, endurance, pain, focus, concentration, domination. Like that's what I think. And but I mean that is the person who probably is at the forefront. It's like, yeah, if I can unlock 20% more focus and concentration, etc., then I want it. I'm trying to optimize for performance. I mean, it almost seems like you have to stay focused for the sake of simplicity, for penetration. But I would imagine at some point there's got to be a way for the proliferation of Ketone-IQ and just to reach everybody else. I don't know how you get there. I mean, but I think you got to stay focused with what you're doing.
Everything in sequence, right? Nike got started and they were initially selling to track and field athletes, to runners, to joggers. It was decades before they got into basketball, tennis, everything, streetwear, everything. And so the world moves a lot faster now, for sure, with the internet and everything. So maybe not decades, but there's still a certain sequencing to things that, Hoka, more modern running shoe, like they still started as like this ultra runner, deep niche community, got all the ultra runners on it. And now my dad wears Hokas to go grocery shopping. And so you have this Patagonia, it's Yvon Chouinard is like out there climbing the gnarliest mountains on the planet. But then like 90% of Patagonia vets are like PE bros in Manhattan, not climbing a spreadsheet today, right? Like, so you have this natural, which is an important job. Look, asset allocating, deciding where we as a society should put our dollars and cents is an important function in society. I love it. It's an important role, so no shade. But they ain't climbing Machu Picchu or whatever. So there is a natural evolution where I think it's hard for a brand to ever go more authentic. You always are headed towards more mass. So you want to start as authentic as possible. For us, that was, we initially got started in 2019. We got a $6 million contract with Special Operations Command. So working with Delta Force, Navy SEALs, like as hardcore as it gets. And then, Ironman athletes, Tour de France riders. Now we're at the spot where we're working with if you run a High Rocks every now and then, or you hit the gym a few times a week and you have a busy job that you care about being dialed for. So I wouldn't say like totally like Bubba mainstream, like just everyone, but I would say we've expanded from like the top decile to maybe the top quartile of high performers are really engaging with the brand. And so you always have that authenticity that you start with, and then that's the aspirational part of your brand that as you build out, someone might not be running an Ironman right now, but hey, if this works for an Ironman, it's going to work for me on like a busy weekend where I'm trying to get a 45-minute workout in and like drive my kids around to soccer practice. Like it's definitely going to work for me.
If it'll work for Jocko,
from what we see a lot.
If it'll work for Jocko Willink, swallowing down some ketones before he goes and fights the whole world as a frogman, then it'll work for me as I climb my spreadsheets on a pedestrian Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a great point. That's a great point, Michael. And what a way to start with the DoD like that. Wow.
Michael, could you talk a little bit about you running in the full costume and some kind of moonshots that you guys are also doing as far as the marketing standpoint? I don't think many people know what you did where you had to run. I don't know. Explain to this where this is. I mean, it was probably very uncomfortable. Please talk about a little bit about this where you did it in a full ketone outfit.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of this.
Yeah, we have this. I have this giant. It's actually in my trunk. We have this giant blow up suit. It's like you take a Ketone-IQ bottle, but it's like giant, life sized,
huge
blow up of it.
Huge.
And I've been known to bust it out every now and then. That especially in the early days, is I ran the last part. I ran the LA Marathon, and like for the last mile, I whipped out the suit and just like trucked the last mile with giant suit across the finish line in it. We work a lot with the Tour de France team. So I was out in France two tours ago and was like running alongside the pro peloton, like up the hill in this giant. It's fun. It's fun for a couple of reasons. Just like ignorable marketing, guerrilla marketing like that. Like when I ran with the Tour de France, I got picked up on like everything. Like it was on like international TV. Everyone, it was like on the, Sports Center of the day for every coverage of the Tour de France. So like, hey, we'll take some free CPMs. Like we'll take all that. And then, I think it's also like as we grow and scale, it's less about me as a like founder doing antics, although we love antics, but it's more now I do it more. It's like almost a rallying cry for the team to let the team know, like, hey, go embarrass yourself. Like no one ever got fired here for being too cringe, too embarrassing. Like I'd rather see people taking swings. And people, when we part ways with people, it's usually because like they're flat footed and like not taking enough cracks. Like no one ever got let go of for not doing something crazy. So just like really inspiring people, like go do something crazy, like go do whatever it is inside of the company, go start your own, become a LinkedIn poster, put your comments out on the internet, shoot a reel every day, post that out, just like encouraging people to be really like out there, and that, no one is ever more risk on than their leader. And so I think it's important to sometimes dial that to 150% so that people feel really licensed to take experiments, and that we have a safe culture around that.
I love that.
Michael, you've got a list of one-liner quotables today. And that was another one. That was another one.
Man, I'm glad to be on the show, because otherwise, man, there's just a lot of stuff bouncing around inside of this head. I'm glad I have a spigot here.
We got to have you on more. Michael, man, we appreciate you making the time to join us. But before you go, man, you got to tell us, man, you've been doing this for a long time now.
Yeah.
Brother, why are you still in the seat? I mean, I ask because, I mean, we got the Huberman, we got John Jones, we got the Tour de France, we've got all that working with the DOD. I mean, now you guys are blowing up in Target. I think a lot of people would ask, like, Michael should have already sold this thing for $1 gazillion, 2 or 3 gazillion. But brother, you're still in here and running and making this thing happen. And I can tell that you're fired up and you're wired thinking about it. Brother, what keeps you in the seat, and what are you excited about here to come?
Well, look, there's a lot of reasons why people start companies. There's a lot of reasons why people sell or exit companies. I think it's great to have a platform to do cool stuff. Phil Knight over at Nike, like, it's still, going to the Olympics, going to Wimbledon, like that. It's a great rocket ship to have access in. Like Michael Brandt is not randomly buddies with John Jones. It's Michael Brandt, the CEO of Ketone-IQ, is like, I'm able to develop unique relationships via that. And so I find it really fun. Like I'm pretty go-getter, just like you guys, that like, if I sold the business, it's like, what do I do the next day? And I think another thing for maybe entrepreneurs to keep in mind is that it's not this binary thing of like, okay, you sell your business entirely and you wipe your hands and walk away. That there's other ways to rotate capital. It's a common thing where people will, you can sell 10% of your earnings. You can have get a nest egg and then keep going on your business. So there is, I think sometimes people think about it as like, okay, I'm broke, and then I'm going to sell my business and be a trillionaire. It's like, there's if you're running a good business, there's capital options along the way where you can kind of have your cake and eat it too. Like you can get, most people working really hard are trying to get some kind of liquidity in their personal bank account. Absolutely. It's but you can get that without selling your business all the way. And so you do see a lot of that when you look closely, a lot of these transactions where people take a large round, or they sell a big chunk of their business, whatnot, or even sometimes sell the majority of your business. In any of these cases, a lot of times the entrepreneur, like what I'm just describing here, like how I am, they want to still stay in it. And there's intangibles of being part of it that they stay connected to.
I love that.
Well, I think that's a great answer. I think that's a great answer. And I would feel the same. Hey, let's say I sell, I get the big whatever, then what do I do tomorrow?
I guess I build another company. You know what I mean? It's I guess I build another.
Yeah.
Michael, we appreciate you making the time and coming on. And man, we appreciate what you're doing, man, for athletes and humans at large, brother. Brain fuel, unlocking concentration en masse. And we look forward to having you back, brother. We appreciate you coming.
Yeah, anytime. Chris, Colin, appreciate it.